tell me about the Brennan Davis interview, and then let's talk. Well, we're going to talk about performers, but also I just want to hear a little bit about your weekend in Louisville, just being able to take in that series between Iowa and the Reds AAA affiliate that, isn't the most exciting in the world, but you were really there for the Iowa Cubs.
Yeah, it was good.
Nice.
What if I just left it at that? After you say, you know what, I went 100 seconds, like it's time for you to go. It's like, yeah, no, it was fine. It was really fun. Like a couple people called me a sicko for leaving International League Baseball and going to watch more International League Baseball. And you know what? Like, haters, back down. Okay. There's something fun about like going to sit behind home and just watch a ball game. And it's a different speed. You forget how hard that game is when you sit up top in the perch. So when you hear like your local team's TV announcers, criticize a player for not making a play, just remember that they haven't sat downstairs for like 20, 30 years. That game works really, really quickly, and it's fun. And getting an up-close look at Owen Casey's swing and him hitting a ball 440 to right center, and seeing the ball jump out of Daniel Palencia's hands and seeing Wicks and Williamson on rehab was just very fun from that perch. I caught up with good friend of yours and becoming a friend of mine, Matt Mervis. Like, that was great to chat with him. It was awesome to chat with Brennan, and we talked about it while he was on that heater in Iowa and then in Syracuse, where he had 8 homers in 9 games or something like that, 7 and 8 games. Like, there were just few things that made the prospector in me happier than seeing Brennan Davis go on an absolute tear, because you know that it's in there. And this guy's still a big leaguer. Like, it. He knows it. I think everybody knows it. He just needs to stay on the field. And, we talked, I guess, a bit about that, but really just kind of wanted to stay away from that, because what are we going to get into with Brennan at that point? It's like, hey, talk to me about your perseverance. No, I wanted to hear about what that guy does away from the ballpark. And I wanted to hear about the, cues that he's got when he's in the box and kind of how he navigates a day now as he's back healthy and doing this thing every day, which is, absolutely phenomenal. And I think you're going to enjoy this conversation.
Especially because, this was a guy that really performed. And I think when you look at what he was as a prospect, raw, not a first rounder, but still a high prized, big bonus guy to be signed away, but kind of that project that you look for in the second and third rounds when you're looking at an athletic and slender and projectable hitter. And he added a little bit of strength, put on this incredible performance. And then I think there was still a need to maybe focus on some of the other things physically, though, to get his body right to be available on the field all the time. Because as we're seeing now in Major League Baseball, especially, these powerful, big guys create so much force that we're seeing a lot of injuries, whether they be core, oblique, back stuff. Kerry Carpenter now going down with a back issue. I don't think it's ever going to become as prevalent as it is with the pitching side of things, but I think we are going to see hitters start to have some common injuries and have to do some things to mitigate that. I think what stands out now and the cool part about the conversation to kind of hear how he's just progressed as a physical person and then as a baseball player is the idea that, yes, he has been trying to get back to who he was in terms of the performance, but he's also doing some things that he's never done before. And I think that's because of just focusing on getting his body right, getting healthy from the back surgery and the core surgery, sure. But he's never hit balls 114 miles an hour. He has multiple home runs 114 miles an hour this year. So this is a guy that's now got healthy, but I think in that process is tapping into more power and maybe even a little bit more ability that he didn't have before. It's just the question now is, does he still have the same adjustability? Does he still have the same, malleability swing-wise? And so far it looks like he has, but I'm sure that's not something that comes back overnight. We're talking about back surgery and a core surgery. I don't even know what core surgery is. That's encompassing. And it does say a lot about his perseverance. I know you didn't want to get into that, and I wouldn't want to either. I'd want to focus on what he's doing. But I think we do have to acknowledge too, though, that, for him to just come back this year and not be discouraged. By the way, he got concussed right at the end of spring training. This guy has taken a lot of shots and just, keeps pushing forward. I think that part's been really impressive to me.
100%. The perseverance, this dude is tough as shit. I think that's become abundantly clear this year with what he's doing. He's OPSing around 1,000 in AAA. For him to do that on the heels of what he's gone through in 2022 and 2023 is just incredible. And I think you're going to enjoy this. But like we did talk about the physique, not improvement, but just like the bulking over the last couple of years. He said he was drafted at about a $180. He's 215 now. So he got drafted at 180. He's 215, and like, dude, he looks the part. And I know you can probably see it on video, but in person, man, you don't realize how thick that guy has become now. And he looks like a big league corner outfielder.
Yep. Last question for you I have on that series that you saw. Owen Casey up close and personal when you're watching him do damage. Isn't it absurd how much damage he can do with such a short, like simple swing? It's short for him. I know people might say, oh, well, then why does he swing and miss so much? Because he's massive. He's 6'4", 6'5" with big levers. There is no wasted movement with that swing path. It's a little bit like Kyle Tuckerish, where it goes behind him and it's short, and it almost looks like he's cutting it off to a degree because it's so short. And then it goes 440. Was that like shocking or like a little bit jarring in person to see how much damage that short stroke can make? Can do?
So can I tell you, like, I like the Kyle Tucker thing, but I will say Young Jock is the one that came to me, and not the rapper, Young Jock Peterson, not the musical artist, but a young Jock Peterson without the leg kick too. And I mean, even Jock now, I think there's a little bit more violence in the current Jock swing because he needs it to try and produce that pop, because, body like just naturally deteriorates as you get to the other side of 30. But the young, big, powerful Jock Peterson that came up with the Dodgers without the leg kick, that's how I see Casey. And it is on plane, and dude, it's so simple and it works. Yeah,
no, I'm with you. And I think when you're looking now, this guy's hitting 300, and I know he's not going to do that at the big league level, but I mean,
but he hit 290 last year in double with like tap balls for half the year, man. We keep saying he's not going to do that. He's not going to do that. And then all of a sudden, like he's doing it in AA, and then he's doing it in AAA. He was doing it in AA at 19 or 20, then he's doing it in AAA at 21. It's crazy what he's doing.
Yeah, no, I think I kept wanting to insert like an "it's going down" pun there. Basically, what would the word be for that? As tribute to Young Jock. I was going to try to insert like "it's going down" into a segue there, just too forced. Couldn't get one off.
But I understand. I appreciate you telling me where you wanted to go, though.
Yeah, I was trying. I just couldn't find one in there, unfortunately. But that was an iconic Young Jock song from our childhood. But let's dive right into the performers then so far this year, over the last week or so, because we got some arms, we got a lot of intrigue. And we also got some call-ups as well. So there's a lot happening on that front.
Yeah, so 3 call-ups that I want to go over real quick. Connor Norby, Justin Henry Malloy, and Adam Mazur. Norby with Baltimore, Malloy with Detroit, and then Mazur with San Diego. And we'll start with Connor Norby here. He just got the call. He had his contract selected. I saw that. So he wasn't on the 40. I guess he didn't have to be added yet. He was a 21 draftee. Is that right?
2020.
He was a 2020.
No. 21. Yeah, 21. You're correct.
Yeah, I thought the 20 draft class had to get added last offseason.
Yeah.
So I think 21 were approaching that. But Norby, was non-40 yet. But hell, he was starting stint 3 in Norfolk to open the year. Like, that's crazy to me. But Norby got the call, deservingly so. He's hit and hit and hit and hit and hit and really hasn't stopped. And now, much like a Kjerstad, he has the opportunity to get up there and try it. I'm worried that the situation is going to be very Ortiz-ish last year, where Joey Ortiz finally got a shot. It wasn't really a fair shot. And then he went back to Norfolk, and then he was the trade chip. That's how I kind of unfortunately see this going for Norby. But Mateo hit the concussion IL. Norby's up. We'll see what Norby can do in his run over the next week or so.
Yeah, and I don't know what the role totally will be. And the swing and miss uptick this year is a little bit of a concern. The fact that Norby's punching out at a 31% clip is pretty surprising. Got that down a little bit as the years progressed. But I think the role that he could settle into, at least in the short term there, and help them most quickly is to be that guy that goes against left-handed pitching and be that short end of the platoon. So far this year, 1,057 OPS against lefties. It's not the biggest sample size in the world, but you go back to last year as well, and I'm pretty sure it was more of the same, just putting up great numbers against lefties and near 900 OPS last year. So that seems like the spot that he can settle into. You get a little bit of versatility there where you can plug him in the outfield if you needed to as well, since he's been playing out there a bunch. But that's the other aspect of it. If he is playing infield, he's fine defensively there, but it is worth noting he hasn't played a lot of second base lately. It's pretty much once a week right now. So I'm very interested to see what the role looks like. It's more of just hey, we have a guy waiting in the wings right there. And the fact that they can just plug guys in that are top prospects is pretty ridiculous. Unfortunately, Kobe Mayo, I don't know if he would have been that guy since this seems like a short stint. And I don't know if they would have wanted to ragdoll him, but that seems like it would have been Kobe Mayo who would be the first guy up. Unfortunately, still working back from that rib issue. I saw him swinging in the cage already the other day, so he should be back relatively soon. But this kind of just feels like a stopgap thing. But it was interesting to add him to the 40-man and just they had the opening there. I think they just had to option like Orts or DFA Caleb Ort or something like that.
I think they DFA'd Tiago Vieira. Is that right? Did they pick him up from Milwaukee? He's just a reliever that's been bouncing around a little bit. I think from Brazil. Like I think he's one of the very few Brazilian arms that we've got. That's cool. Kind of cool. But like, if you could create space for Connor Norby for 2 weeks, go ahead and do that. Yeah. Next guy is Justin Henry Malloy. Corresponding move was crazy. We'll talk about that on the Just Baseball show, but Torque's a mudhen again, folks. Justin Henry Malloy, friend of the program, has been on this show twice now. He gets up, couldn't be happier for him. And like, what else is this guy needed to do? You know what Detroit has had this kind of situation where they've got a good roster in AAA. Like they've got a lot of guys that would be getting shots with like 20 to 25 other organizations. You're telling me Jace Young wouldn't get a shot with 20 other organizations in Major League Baseball right now? Yeah. But like they just have this kind of stockpile in certain spots. And, Malloy has really blossomed into a guy that, is figuring out the corner outfield. And he talked about that. He talked about the work that he's put in. And I think that's where he's going to get the run, I assume, is in the corner outfield spots. He's going to walk. He's going to walk. And if you're listening to the show, you probably already knew that. He's going to walk with the best of them. And he's got pop, man. Like the swing and miss is going to be there, but the patience is going to be there. And he's going to be a net positive player for the Tigers. I feel very strongly about that.
And I love that he's riding a nice streak right into his debut as well, right? Where you got the last 25 games. He's slashing 277, 426, 566. It's a 992 OPS. And by the way, that strikeout rate is cut down a little bit to 26% over that stretch. And he's hitting the ball harder. He's hitting the ball harder too. So he's going to walk a ton. Like you said, he's going to strike out a lot because he gets into a lot of deep counts. But he's hitting fastballs as consistently as he ever really has. And, we'll see how he adjust to breaking balls and stuff like that. But when you are as selective as he is, crush fastballs, don't expand too much on breaking balls and fight them off, which is what he does. And you can be a net positive, like you said. I'm interested to see how the defense looks out there in a very cavernous outfield. But most importantly, as you alluded to, if you go back and listen to those Justin Henry Malloy conversations in the most recent one, phenomenal person, so happy. Like, I envy how happy and smiley and positive he is. And those are the types of people. I mean, look at his picture. Go look at his picture. Right. I'm pretty sure he's smiling ear to ear in it. Like you can feel it. It's the kind of guy that you root for, whether you met him once or, you've got to know him and he's become a friend over the years. And that's why I'm really excited for him. But on the baseball side as well, he does have a good chance to be able to help them.
What did he say when he got reassigned to minor league camp? It was like the Grim Reaper came to get me. Like he comes to get everybody and he came and got me today. Like that kind of thing. And he said it in like such a fun manner where it's like, dude, you were so close to accomplishing your dream out of camp and you didn't get to do it. And I mean, the fact that he can take that in stride. And I saw him in Indy a couple weeks ago and I was like, dude, you're kicking butt. And he was like, yeah, stay in the course. And like, it was just, he was so ridiculously level-headed. He also does something I've really never seen in the minor leagues before. He takes a pitch every BP round. He takes a pitch.
Of course he does.
Talk about leaning into the bit. He takes a pitch every single round. Like he loads and tracks it through all the way to the back of the turtle. It's crazy.
I love it.
Last guy is Adam Mazur with San Diego. And Mazur is a guy that, spoiler alert, if you're looking at the top 100, is on the top 100. This guy was striking out a good bit of dudes, limiting hard contact, wasn't walking anybody. And he made the jump, couple starts in triple, and now he gets up. San Diego is quick to fast track the right guys, I think. And this feels like the right guy that can be fast tracked. It's very Schwellenbach-ish of San Diego.
I think it's a great comparison there. I think Schwellenbach has a little bit more funk working in his favor. That elevates the floor a little bit more, I think, and probably the ceiling. But
Yeah.
Mazur, what I like about him is you're looking at a guy that's 2 years younger too, or a year and a half younger. Still, I think is gonna, even if he gets up there and stays, he's 23 years old, just turned 23, is going to continue to blossom as a pitcher at the highest level because, as you alluded to, like, such a good feel to pitch. It's plus command. It's a fastball that may not have the best characteristics, but it's 95. And if it's 95 with good command, that's going to play. And then the slider is a plus or better pitch. It's fringe, on the double plus end of things, and he rarely misses with it. 75% strike rate on a slider like that. That's going to be able to, I think, elevate his floor and give him the opportunity to get big league hitters out and be competitive. Then mixes in an average curveball, mixes in a decent changeup. It's just a solid 4-pitch mix with plus command that I think is going to continue to just get better as he learns to figure out how to sequence and make his stuff work to the best of its ability. I think the one aspect for him is going to be just continuing to keep the ball in the yard. And we saw him do that through stretches last year, and just making sure that fastball doesn't bleed back over the middle. He's just going to need to have that plus command, but we've seen it. And I think he's a guy that can absolutely help the Padres right now. And we talked about it earlier in the year. We felt like he would be the first one up, even before a Snelling and before some of these other guys. And here he is. And I hope he can stick. And I think he's got the ability to. It really just comes down to execution, is general as that is, but with him especially. And he has all the ability to execute. It's just whether he does it in the stint that he gets the opportunity to or not. If he doesn't, he'll get a chance later on, and I'm sure ultimately he's going to be a solid big league starter.
And I think this sample can leapfrog him over a Randy Vasquez on the pecking order.
Mm-hmm.
Darvish is out with a groin strain right now, and Musgrove has elbow inflammation, which sucks. Waldron is throwing too well to move him out of the rotation as it stands right now. But if Musgrove's absence is prolonged and say Darvish is a bit shorter and you got to make a decision when Darvish comes back, you're looking at a front four of Darvish, Cease, King, Waldron, and then Mazur. And I feel really good about my chance to win every night if I run that assortment of 5 out. Randy Vasquez kind of feels like a, clunker right now. He's got an ERA in the high 5s, but I don't think, in 2 weeks, we're talking about Mazur as a clunker turn through the rotation, which is what we're asking for San Diego.
No, I totally agree. And I think ultimately, if this is a guy that's your 4 or 5 starter, you could be in a really good spot. And really if there's some growing pains out of the gate, that's great. Let's get him out of the way now, because I think as he gets comfortable at the big league level, he could be a guy that ends up pitching some pretty big games for them down the stretch if he gets the opportunity to.
Yeah. All right. Hitter hot sheet.
Let's do it.
Why not? Before that, quick break. Okay, hitter hot sheet and then pitcher hot sheet. So 3 bats, 3 arms. The 3 bats that I grabbed, we typically do this over 2-week samples, but why not just do a week, right? I saved you from Trey Sweeney because Trey Sweeney was in Albuquerque this week. 6 homers in the week for Albuquerque. He's swinging the shit out of it right now in Oklahoma City. And I know it's the PCL, but man, Trey Sweeney's kind of balling in AAA. That looks like maybe a Dodgers fleece, Sweeney for Yorbit Vivas.
I don't know. I mean, I said when the trade went down, I'd prefer Sweeney over Vivas. But the funny thing is, I think if we sorted his home runs, like if we queued up the splits,
80% are in Albuquerque.
I think like 80% of them are in Albuquerque. I'm not even kidding. I'm gonna look at that in a moment, but just for amusement standpoint. But no, regardless, he's been swinging it pretty well, and he can stick on the left side of the infield. And hey, take advantage of where you're at. Maybe the Rockies should trade for this guy. I think if they realize, oh wow, he ticks up at a different level in Albuquerque, maybe we should go get him at altitude.
Dude, the home road splits are absolutely insane for Trey Sweeney. 21 games at home, Sweeney's OPSing 701 with 1 homer. On the road, 32 games on the road, he's OPSing 855 with 8 homers. So 8 of his 9 have come on the road. I'm curious how many of those 8 have come in Albuquerque. I can't see that right now, but maybe you can. That's absolutely insane. Shout out to him getting away from OKC.
So I have just the numbers against Albuquerque, period. I don't know how many are home. Oh, here we go, actually.
He has 8 road homers.
He has 7 of them are in Albuquerque.
Oh, 7 of his 9 on the year are in Albuquerque. 2 trips.
Do you know what he's hitting in Albuquerque this year?
He's got to be like 450, 470.
He's 434, 500, 962
Nice.
line.
Nice.
Oh man, this guy loves Albuquerque.
Get him to Rocktober, man. This is great. No, our 3 hitters. One of them is a Rockies prospect. Actually, we'll start with Cole Carrick, and Carrick is a guy that you have been very high on since the end of last year. 6 games this past week. Carrick was 12 for 27. I don't know the batting average off the dome, but 12 for 27 is really good. It's in the mid 400s. 3 triples for Carrick. He drove in 6, 3 for 4 in the stolen base department. He OPS'd 1167. He had a hell of a game, I want to say on Friday or Saturday, but I mean, dude, he's swinging it all year, and this was his best week.
He's fun to watch. You know, there's some things that I'm still waiting on approach wise and whatever in terms of like, hey, can you be a little bit less aggressive, things like that. But he just puts the ball in play, hits it, will surprise you with the pop, and then he can just fly. It's dynamic, and that's I probably get to using that word a little bit too much, but he is a guy that is just truly dynamic. It was a handful of stolen bases in a single game, and then a double, a triple. Like he can really be a game wrecker, and we're seeing that. Need to see some improvements against changeups and things like that, but he's not missing fastballs right now, and that's why he's able to capitalize in high A to the degree that he is. He's also still seeing some action at shortstop, which is fun too. So it's center field and shortstop, but I'm telling you, if you get a chance to watch him play, you'll just fall in love with it because of the old school fun aspect that he brings, where sometimes he's like running out of the box and slapping it, but other times like he'll get a good swing off and he'll put a charge into it. So he's a fun hybrid of old school and kind of new school too. And it's been nice seeing him really heat up. I wouldn't be shocked if a AA promotion is coming, relatively soon.
Is he catching at all? I know he was like kind of listed as a catcher, quasi catcher.
Yeah, I think they punted that one after, but he did do it a little bit in rookie ball, and he did it a little bit in low A last year, but he has yet to catch this season.
So where is he at? Like just short and center?
Just short and center.
You know what? Give me a shortstop center fielder all the time. If my shortstop center field hybrid was hopping behind the plate too, oh my God.
He's David Fry, but more athletic. Look out.
Right. Next guy is actually a guy that puts the gear on and really only does that. Kyle Teal had himself a massive week. Cole Carrick, by the way, a Rockies prospect. I think we mentioned that. Kyle Teal with the Red Sox and, high up there on the top 100. 6 games. Teal was 10 for 24 this past week in Altoona. A double, 3 homers, 11 driven in. He was 2 for 2 in the stolen base department, had a 1350 OPS on the week. I feel like each time you check in on Teal, I get a text like you get more and more bought into who Kyle Teal is.
And that was the funny one about Teal is, and when we put out the top 100 list for 2024, even Red Sox fans are like, why is Teal so high? I'm like,
yeah, stop.
Trust me. Just trust me. He's good. I think we're seeing it now. And Altoona, favorable environment to hit in, right?
I think so.
That said, Teal turned around a 97 mile an hour fastball and hit it 109, 405 feet. So he's starting to tap into more juice here, and he's starting to just, I think, blossom into a more well-rounded hitter. It was a little bit of hit over power in the past, and I think he's always going to be hit over power, and we've seen that. But I think now we're seeing him hit the ball a little bit harder. Already a new max exit velocity this year, elevating really consistently, driving it to all fields really consistently. He's going to be a guy that ultimately is one of the higher floor catchers because of what he can do with the bat, and then also just progressing into a nice defender. But I mean, what he did in this past week and what we're seeing him kind of trend towards, like, this has been a little while now where he didn't really start slow, but he didn't start nearly as hot as he is now. And if you extrapolate even over 25 games, he's got an OPS over 1,000. You got to go like outside of the last 30 games to get that OPS under 950. But even when you look at the numbers on the season, he's hitting over 300 and he's slugging nearly 500. He's tapping into more juice now. And I think that's really hard to argue against now, where you have at least average power, at least average, I think above average field to hit, elevates consistently, left-handed hitting catcher, 22 years old. He's going to be 22 all year up until it's basically when he has to report. He turns 23 when he has to report for next year. Red Sox got a good one here. I still can't believe he fell into their lap.
Do you see what he did against like some of those big ticket arms? Like I know Chandler threw this week, Harrington threw this week, Ashcraft threw this week. Can you see what like he did against them?
That's a great question. I mean, the 97 mile an hour fastball that he went deep on was against Justin Meese.
I think Mice. Yeah,
Mice.
I think Mice.
I know he singled. He had 2 singles off of Thomas Harrington.
Cool.
So I mean, that's one
hard
side
for anybody to get base hits against Harrington.
And then got put a good charge into one off of Bubba Chandler. 97 off the bat at 24 degrees, just kind of died, not quite hard enough. Got a little deep on him, but I mean, he was putting together good at bats against some of their best arms.
Cool. Last hitter that we got to talk about is a Tiger, Kevin McGonigal, another guy. Each time he does something, I get a text like he's so good, man. And I'm like, I agree. I'm totally with you. Kevin McGonigal this week, 6 games, 10 for 22, 3 doubles, a homer, drove in 7, walked 4 times, 2 for 2 in the stolen base department at 1227 OPS. Get this man to Grand Rapids, Michigan. Please.
Thank you.
He doesn't need to work. Like, he doesn't need to work in tandem with Clark. Like, Max Clark clearly has more stuff that he's got to work on in low A, and that's fine. Like, that's totally fine. And Clark is higher on the top 100. Like, run your own race. And McGonigal was the more advanced, frankly, like high school bat of the 2 of them. Clark is just tooled out the ass. McGonigal is the kind of guy, like the kind of high school bat that you can move quick. Get him to West Michigan, please.
Yes, for multiple reasons, but you're 100% correct. He's way too advanced. He's like almost wasting his time there. Like, he's not getting better. I feel like at this point playing down there, sitting 355. You mentioned the last handful of games. I mean, it's a 3-hit game, a 2-hit game, and then a 3-hit game. He's legitimately not going to get that much better out there until they challenge him a bit more. And I also want to see how the power plays in a different environment when you get him out of the Florida State League, because he's hitting the ball harder than he did last year, 90th percentile, 103, which with his field to hit, that could be enough. That could be, that could sneak in now 10, 15 home runs, and he could be one of the, the biggest doubles guys that you'll see in the minor leagues once he fully, starts to put it all together. I look at this guy when he's commanding his at-bats right now in low A, and you mentioned the series, went back and watched. Obviously, I rarely miss the McGonigal hits because whenever I see he has a good game, I go back and watch pretty much every pitch. Yeah. Every take looks easy. He's on everything. It just seems like he is playing. He looks like a college bat. When we're watching college baseball right now, the regional and super regional, right. The best hitter in a college lineup looks like he's just playing a different level than everybody else. Same thing in high school, right? Like, he looks like that right now in low A, where it's just like, if you throw anything in the zone, it feels like it's just not going to be good enough to beat him. You just have to hope he hits it at somebody, or he has a rare instance of just not quite squaring it up. That's what it feels like right now with McGonigal in low A. And that's a testament to how good of a hitter he is. And he's always been, like you said, that advanced guy, but now he's getting a little bit stronger. Now he's starting to learn himself a little bit more. And all of a sudden that looks like a 355 batting average and a 952 OPS as a 19-year-old in full season ball.
How awesome is that? All right. Real quick, 3 pitchers before we wrap on the audio side with Brennan Davis. Hurston Waldrop got up to AAA. And Waldrop in his AAA debut, I think this week was kind of split into 1 start with Mississippi and then 1 start with Gwinnett. Or was it both with Gwinnett? I think he started 1 in double, 1 in triple. But Hurston Waldrop on the week, 11 innings, 11 hits, 5 earned, punched out 18, walked 3. 3 walks in 11 innings. Like, fire me up, man. And I saw some is it Stuff Plus? Is it like pitch value? I don't know what I saw. All I saw was, now that there is StatCast AAA data on his splitter, it grades out as one of the better pitches thrown in AAA so far this year.
Yeah. I mean, just look at it. Right.
Like,
you don't even need any models.
We all knew it.
No, but it is nice when it can be backed up with those things as well. I mean, dude, that splitter, we talked about it. And I mean, when you were making the case for him too, like that was the argument was, hey, that pitch can go get big league hitters out right now.
Right.
And so it's just, can you piece together the other aspects? The command was the big question. It's still, he's going to need to do it a little bit more, but to do it in AAA in his first starts, only walked one, given the zone being tighter and other aspects that go into
he was
that.
throwing in Norfolk too. Like he was throwing against Norfolk in Norfolk in his AAA or in his season debut in AAA. I keep forgetting that he made like one weird blip start.
Yeah, I know. He did. He had the one start last year against Durham. But I mean, this is just a really nice stretch from him. And if you extrapolate it even further, the command has continued to be great. It's coming together for Waldrop, and I think now it's looking like he could be a guy that gets up there and helps the Braves too if they need another arm.
Yeah. Brandon Sproat, another guy in the NL East with the New York Mets. Come on. It's a joke. 2 starts in Binghamton this week. 14 innings between the two of them. 5 hits, 1 run, 15 Ks, 3 walks. He's very high on the top 100.
When we broke down the Mets system, it said Sproat has the best stuff in the system. The command is really frustrating. What's it going to look like? We had Sproat behind only Christian Scott, who had the best command in the system and good stuff. Sproat still, despite being at that time going into this year, a guy that was well below average command-wise, was, again, the number 2 arm in the Mets system. Since then, he has shown to – right now he's flashing average command at the least. I mean, over his last several starts, as you mentioned, we're talking another guy, 3 walks in his last 14 innings. If you go even further now, 4 walks in his last 21 innings. And on top of that, we said best stuff in the system. It's even better. He's throwing a splinker, just like Paul Skeens, by the way. It is similar as could be. A couple ticks slower. It's only 88 to 92.
Yeah,
but it's almost the same action. It's almost the same exact action. Surprise, surprise. Opponents are hitting 111 against it this year. Fastball is ticking up every start. So he's throwing more strikes and the fastball's ticking up. This dude hit 102 last time he was out. Mm-hmm. This last start yesterday, as we're recording this, he touched 102. And consistently now touching triple digits. To see the velo going up and up as he's going 7 innings in 3 consecutive starts, he didn't even do that at UF. He had one-offs, but he never had 3 consecutive 7-inning starts. It's all coming together for this guy. When the command and the stuff at the same time tick up together, you rarely see that. Sproat is worthy of all the hype right now.
It's absolutely ridiculous what he's doing. And the numbers, 4 starts in Binghamton at this point? 4 starts, 26 innings, 4 earned as a 1.38 ERA, 30 punch-outs, 6 walks. He went from, 16 walks in 25 1/3 in Brooklyn to 6 walks in 26 innings in Binghamton. Nobody goes up to a new level and, decides that they're just going to start punishing the strike zone. But
that's what I don't
get. He does.
Strike rate is 64% this year. Fastball strike rate is 68%. And the changeup over his since he got to Double-A, dotting that thing. In Double-A, the changeup strike rate 68%. Absurd.
Crazy. Last one, and a little teaser for the end of this week. Walter Pennington of the Royals is in AAA Omaha at this point, and he opened game 2 of a doubleheader in Indy. And this guy in 3 appearances, 1 start, 6 2/3 innings, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 12 Ks in 6 2/3. He maxes at 93, right?
Yeah, his average is about 91.
So he sits 91. Can you explain to me how the slider works? Because he makes lefties look like idiots and he makes righties look like idiots with that slider. I don't understand it.
I know. It seems like it's a little bit of that cross-body delivery that he's got going on. I still don't understand how it's so disgusting. I'd love to talk to some hitters who have faced him. We have an earmark for when we bring Griff on to ask him specifically about Walter Pennington because he bullied the Jumbo Shrimp in 4 innings. I think it was 4 perfect, 6 Ks. It just looks like it is impossible to pick up. I don't know what else to say. And it just seems to have late sweep, and he is dominating hitters with that pitch. That pitch alone can make him a lefty specialist at the big league level. And so far this year in AAA, he's thrown the slider more than any other pitch, and opponents are hitting a $163 against it with a 42% chase rate and a 26% whiff rate. Good luck. That's a big league pitch, and he's doing enough with the other offerings to get by.
That's what we got for you.